Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we are at the historical circuit of Silverstone for the 2020 VFC British Grand Prix. Built around an airfield, today it's a very fun track to drive with many fast corners. A good example is the Cops Corner, which unfortunately today is flooded. But even this part looks very fun to drive from above as you can carry a lot of speed through the corners. Vale is very crucial as you need to maximize your traction to begin your qualifying lap. I would say let's do so and have some fun. So, starting the lap in just a few seconds, going carefully through the Vale corner. The track is getting faster and drier. Yannick is the next one, lap starts now. Turn 1 easy flat out, turn in at around 100 meters. Turn 2 no problem as well. Now braking at 100 for very narrow turn 3. Just short accelerating and a very tricky corner. Search for the traction, use it, flat out through 5 and now going towards the Wellington Straight. Just building up the speed to 290, braking at 50 meters, but careful up. Yep, careful on the way in. Now left field, struggling a bit under traction, but as I said, the track is slightly wet. Now going towards Cops Corner. Yeah, just downshift, brake a little bit. The car wants to oversteer. Lost some time there. Careful around there. Yeah, the car dances through the fast corners. Also very bumpy track. And now being on the long straight off the track, building up the speed for the Stowe corner. I'm 2/10 down on the fastest timer so far. Also very tricky at the exit, but this is the most crucial point now. A narrow turn in, short shifted to second, search for the traction again. Now just flat out waiting for the line, and it's 1:37.0, puts me up in provisional second place. So after Meyer and Yannick's lap, it got drier and drier. The people got faster and faster, and then it started raining, so I find myself in P11 in not a comfortable situation, but lights are on and lights are out. Away we go. Uncomfortable situation, uncomfortable start, struggling with the traction, losing time to the guys ahead, but I have to get through this. The main difficult thing is now I cannot see anything. The spray is too heavy, but that's how it is. 91% wet track, so sliding a bit to the outside, already lost the place. But oh, there's a saldo spinning. And I'm on P8. Now that was a lucky situation for me. Benton Reader apparently out of the race. Okay. Now just getting into the rhythm, because it's so extremely difficult to drive this car in such conditions. So I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable in practice, especially in the rain. I had good times, good lap times, and I was really confident in the car. But I see the gap is getting bigger to McAllister. Maybe because I have to find my groove. Now I lost a bit time there, and Knezovic is pretty close to me. Having a good exit, having a good speed, and he's now just breezing past me. No point in risking any fending, just let him go. I'm on P9, it's alright. It's alright for the first lap, so just try to keep the distance to him and see what's gonna happen, because maybe one of those guys ahead might spin away, because it's so difficult to get around here. And we have the first lap done. Still careful through the fast corners. Careful on the braking. Yep, got around here. Oh, now I'm struggling a bit on the traction. Barely. Oh, that was close. But Luca did his job. And now Poland is waiting for a chance to get past me, but he has not enough top speed. Apparently he's got more downforce, so I keep my position. But barely putting my foot on the throttle, and the car just wants to spin away. It's so extremely difficult. We've been struggling with the traction, with the rear end, all weekend long, and there's so many things you can change on the setup, but none of them helped us in that term. So I think it's another track which shows how fucked up our car is, you know. So we've been struggling with it all weekend long, and the rain doesn't make it easier for us in any kind of way. So we have to get through this, God knows how, and maybe cramp for a point or two.
Drive-through penalty für Pascal Polens causing a collision at the start.
Okay, so Pascal Polens has been penalized for causing a collision apparently. Now he's in a fight with Peisler because he's losing time to me. I think they were just within a second, and now they're 2.5 seconds behind me. The gap to Luca stays around 7 to 8 tenths, I think. So I already recognize that I'm not really quick. And that, that sucks, because, as I said just a few seconds ago, I felt so comfortable in the rain, and the lap times were good. But now I just kind of struggle to keep it up. Now Malaika, I think he's almost spun. Lost 2 places. Luca gained it. But I'm still on P10. Just waving a bit for a better view. Using some extra road, but to attack him here it's dumb, so just stay behind him and try to have a good exit. But the dirty air is just it's disgusting. We were so slow through the corners, but still the dirty air takes away every bit of front end grip you just can have, you know? It doesn't matter how quick we are going through the corners, it just takes everything away. And at the other side, the rear end is just sliding away, so at some spaces, at some situations, we don't have any front end grip, and at the same time, no rear end grip as well. And I think that sums it up, how fucked up this car is. I don't want to cry about it too much. I mean, I've been driving this car since March, since the Australian Grand Prix, and it's not getting any kind of better. But I think this just showcases it. I don't know. It's just absolutely frustrating. But from that point on, there's nothing I can really do, because now I have dirty air, struggling through slow corners. You have to understeer heavily, which forces the front tires to overheat, and that makes it even more difficult to get through corners. But I can see Malaika struggling as well. What makes me happy, because I'm not happy that he's struggling. I'm just happy that I'm not the only one who's getting into problems. Now this was entry too narrow.
Verwarnung für Daniel Bentenrieder, Aktion mit Marvin Schumacher.
So Bentenrieder gets a warning. That is tricky. Now, having a sniff at him, Or at least trying. But there is anything I can do. Now he pulls away, so I can stay at least in the top 10. 2 laps later, we can already see a dry line. Now I have to go to the wet side of the road to cool my tires, and Fabian Jungblut is going for attack. That's what I meant, understeer and then oversteer, and he gets past me, so now I'm 12. Also, Bastian Peisel got away around me, and now I'm really losing time. Oh, and now he spins away and also got me out of shape. But there you can see it. The dry line, which is the ideal line as well, so you have to stay on a dry side of the road. Yep, that sums it up. So as soon as there is a dry line, I mean, you have to stick it, as I said, it's an ideal line, but now you have to swoop to the wet side to cool the tires down. But through some fast corners like this one, or like Cops, the tires get fucking hot, which makes you struggle even more. And, you know, to me, it's not it's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's not a raining race anymore. It's just actually surviving from that point on. So at every part of the track there is the dry ideal line, and going around the outside of every corner makes you lose more time. So it's pointless to go the rain line like you do in karting. You have to use the long straights to cool the tires down. And this is I've been struggling with a lot, because the tires don't you know, I don't like these tires. I really struggle on them because I hate understeer in a certain aspect, and that makes it extremely difficult for me. So the gap to Peisler, to Malaika, to Zoran gets bigger and bigger. My struggles get bigger and bigger, but at least I'm still in the points. A few laps down the road, and look at the sky. The clouds are back. So I assume that the rain will start in a short time. Now Alex Kraft is without a rear and front wing. What happened there?
Vorsicht, langsames und beschädigtes Auto in Sektor 1. Vorsicht.
Just look at the tire graphs. The tires are, well...
Alex Kraft hat ein Problem.
Yep.
Schaden. Der ist in den ersten 3-4 Kurven.
So looking at the tire graph, the tires are fucked. And don't forget that these are heavy wet tires. And I keep on struggling. Now I'm 9th because some people ahead of me stopped. Apparently the most guys are on 3-stop, but I still lost a place. And I'll lose another one to McAllister. Poland's get by. I think Schluter got by after re-entering.
Auto jetzt in Sektor 2. Vorsicht.
After he re-entered the race. So I'm keep on struggling. I really lose time, but you know, I have few left for two more laps. I can pit in now because it's too dry. Exactly, I need fucking rain. I need the fucking rain. I can pit now for the dry line. You know, for dry tires, because you can drive with those tires on a dry line. Only if you stay on his racing line. But if it is going to rain in about a few minutes, actually there's pointless to pit in now for dry tires. So maybe I can save up one stop by staying out, or if I have to pit in just next 2 laps and it starts to rain, that I can stay on the wet tires. Now look at Soren gets by me again.
Es fängt an.
Yes! Rate and intensity increases. So that seems positive. Now the question is, what should I do? I have few left for 1.6 laps. Now the question is, how much will it rain? The intensity increases.
Verwarnung für Yannick Malaika, gefährliches Fahren gegen Fabian Jungblut.
Another warning has been given. So rain intensity 5, but the track is not getting wetter. And now it's decreasing again to 4. So now it's just, you know, it's a gamble for me. Do or die. Oh, McAllister slow in a dry line. And there's Schluter. I think there must have been a collision because those guys were far ahead of me from me. And now I'm going in. Braking carefully. Good. And now pitting for wet tires again. And 1 lap later, I recognize it was the right decision to go for the wet tires again. The rain intensity is now 13%, 74% water on the track. Even though I still struggle to get around the track on these on these tires, but I assume that all the people who pitted earlier than I did will have to go back to the pits again, as I'm certain that they pitted for dry tires. So now there's one guy going off. Who's that? Alex Kraft. Okay, I think he's lapped due to his damage he had a few laps prior. And Patrick Newman is off track. So now I really think the guys on the dry tire are really struggling. So maybe the gamble of Belgium could now finally pay off. Mark Schluter is ahead. His car looks stable, so I think he's on wet tires. Although
Drive-through Penalty für Mark Schlüter, Überfahren der Boxenausgangslinie.
But he will not bother me any longer, I think, with his penalty. Still cooling the tires, but I couldn't see the green stripe on his tires, so maybe he is on dries too. And now the people have to gamble as well, staying out on dry tires and hoping for the sun coming out, or pit again for the wet tires. There's Lorenzo De Cutis off-road as well.
Auf der Geraden, Achtung, die Cutis kommt jetzt auf die Strecke zurück.
So it looks pretty much like the gamble I had in Belgium. Let's just hope that this one pays off way better than it did a few weeks ago. And there you can see Schluter is also
Vor mir ist auf Soft.
exactly. Now he is struggling. And I'm back in the points, by the way. Picked up the place from Lorenzo.
Und hat noch die Drive-Through.
Oh yeah, right. The poor guy has to pit twice now. Pit for the penalty and pit for the wet tires, unless he wants. But if he looks in his rear mirror, I think it must be a logic thing to do, because now I'm closing up on him in a car which is way more competitive than mine. So now let's see what's he up to. No, he stays out. He stays out. So maybe he might gamble for the sun, which is all right. I like the sun as well. So I can totally understand it. McAllister in the pits. Now I'm picking up his place. P11. 20% of rain intensity and 80% water on the track. Remember, we were around 70. And still I'm struggling. I have as much grip as Schluter has ahead of me on dry tires. Again, just showcasing the poor rear end grip we have. But, well. Oh yeah, both cars in the points. I'm on P11 and Barvik just behind. But I'm sure we're gonna be P10 and 11 in around 1.5 laps. You can see him struggle. Now just wait, there's another guy slowing down. This is Peisler. What happened to him? Oh, now I have to really hesitate to go on the throttle. At some point the track had an end. But now they're really holding me off. They're really holding me up, and now both pit. Good, so I'm about to be 8th. So it seems like the gamble is paying off. No, I'm P9 now. Okay. Okay, the rain stopped. Now we have to wait and see what's gonna happen now. Maybe the sun comes out. Maybe it will stay like this. Maybe it will rain in a few minutes again. It's an absolute gamble because nobody knows how the weather is gonna be in a few minutes. But for now, I'm pretty happy with P9. Lap 21, and the sun came out indeed, putting us back again to the same situation we've been before. Dry ideal line, wet road, wet track all around the ideal line, and super hard wet tires. You have to go down whenever you can. So P9 still, Malaika is exiting the pits. There he is. Amazing gap he had to me. So the gap was once 12 seconds when it stopped raining, and it increased it to I think 18, which is huge. So back again to those conditions. I'm struggling with the pace, and he's on dry tires now as well. And now just look at the gap. That's extremely huge. So now I'm just thinking, what should I do? I have fuel for 6 more laps. Should I really stay out? I don't think it's a smart idea to do, because just look at Malaika. 2 seconds away.
Malaika vor mir ist gerade rausgekommen aus der Box und hat die Soften. Der zieht mir weg.
Exactly. 2.5 seconds down. 2.5 seconds down to him, just within a half lap.
Soll ich auf die Harten gehen? Alles klar.
Talking to Yannick about the strategy, so pitting now, this is the best. Yeah, not really the best now, maybe I should have done it earlier, but I got showcased that the dry tire is definitely the right choice to go on. So now, pit entry again, careful, and go back to the softs. And there we go, this time careful, in second gear, unlike in Monza. Good, this time it works. But now it's showtime. Now it's showtime because I'm really struggling with it. This is something I really have to work on. To stay in a dry line with dry tires and avoid the wet spots of the track. The car handling is so much different now. I have so much more front end grip because the tires are not overheating anymore. And this is something you have to get used to. You have to get used to it, and you have to avoid the wet patches. I'm on P10, just lost 1 place to Beisler. He's 4 seconds ahead. Oop, okay. He's 4 seconds ahead, but I think he has to pit as well. And even if not, who cares? I'm on P10. I'm in the points. That's a good thing. Now really getting used to it. Be careful. Find the right rhythm through it. The right gear, the right speed, the right turn-in point. It's so difficult now because it's so much different. It's like you're driving something completely different right now. A different car, you know? I think, yeah, there's Peisler cooling down his tire, so I think he is on the heavy wet. Just use the boost to gain a bit more time. Yeah, and I think now he enters the pits. Oh no, it's not him. Marvin Schumacher right there. Okay. And now let's go. Set the fastest time, the personal best. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. The struggle to stay on the line. And there's the first spin. Hello, Marvin. As soon as you get on the wet line, it's game over. And that's exactly what happened. Now let's stay on board for a few more laps to show how difficult it is. And I really have to work on it for the future. So I feel the grip. No, I don't feel it. I see that I have grip, but I don't really feel it. Now going off in the cop's corner. And there you go. Wet line, game over.
Auf jeden Fall besser.
You have to get back to the dry line as if you're, in a swimming pool and you just can't swim. You try to swim back with everything you have, with everything you can, to hold yourself on something. And this is how it felt. This is how it felt when you spin off on a wet line, and you have to get back to the dry one as quick as possible with your dry tires. This is how it felt. And that's the main problem, because if you're anywhere, you just have to get back to the dry line as quick as possible. But if there are people coming around the corner, you might interfere them. And they will complain. They will complain because they will have to lift. There's possibly a risk of an incident. So they will complain and you will get penalized. Penalized for actually not even driving, dangerously, but at the end, driving to survive. Driving back to the dry line to survive, to be able to accelerate, to get on going. But this is considered as dangerous driving, rightfully so at some stage, because coming around the corner with no expectation of a slow car ahead of you, there's a high risk of a heavy incident. Should it be a penalty under conditions like this? I don't know. I don't want to answer it. There are some guys at race control who can't because they're doing it, but at this stage it's really just surviving and stay within the line. Sounds easy, but it is not at all. Now I'm 1.4 seconds up on my own delta. 1.8. Braking earlier now. Too late.
Fick Scheiße.
Yep. Oh yeah, this is what I mean. So try to get back as quick as possible to the edge of the pool. But you're sinking. You try to swim with all the power you have. No, Yannick gets
Ich komm
by.
gar nicht mehr los hier.
There, I cannot just go straight because I hear some cars on the left, so I have to reverse my car to be to give the guys a bit more space. But there's nothing you can do.
Fahr doch los, du Fuck.
Yeah, frustrating as fuck. But there's nothing you can do because you hear the cars behind you. You have to give them the space. It's their line. They're on the track, and you're offline. So you just cannot simply go on the dry line without looking, without hearing. You have to try to accelerate your
Ich habe null
car.
Vertrauen in dieses scheiß Auto, weil ich einfach nicht weiß, was es macht.
Yeah,
Besonders bei diesen Bedingungen.
that's what I say. I have no feeling, no trust in this car because it's not only different to drive now, it's completely unpredictable. At some point it's oversteering, at some point it's understeering, pretty much what it did with the wet tires, but now so much extreme. I don't want to say that it's only the car's fault. Of course it's also my fault because I'm unable to adapt my my driving to this kind of conditions. And I fully admit my mistake. Something I certainly have to work on for next year. But at this point, all I try to do is to really stay on the dry line. Now the tires are square. The car has so much more front end grip and so much less rear end grip. And especially in a corner like this. That's also what Yannick says. He struggled with it as well. Looking at the replay of all cars, I think it's clear that we were the ones struggling the most in Vale. And to save you some time, I suggest to skip to the final lap because nothing much to see anymore. So we find ourselves in lap 36, 2 laps down already, with tires square as, I don't know, square as fuck. And I'm on P15, Yannick ahead of me on P14, just 19 seconds ahead of me. He had several spins, I had 1,001, and got also a 10-second penalty on the race for re-entering the track, well, dangerously, because I tried to get back to the dry line as quick as possible while different cars were coming. I mean, anything happened, and with a driver possibly being in the same situation, I'm not really sure whether you have to complain about a car you just lapped and who just tries to get back on the dry line as quick as possible. I'm not sure about that, but let it be how it is. Yeah, there's Yannick for whatever reason. Okay, I'm 14th, outracing my teammate, but who the fuck cares about that, man? I was on P9, then the track started being dry and, well, I fucked it up. The car is... there's not much to say, so I'm sorry for... No, actually I'm not sorry for skipping the majority of the race, because I just want to save your time. In those span of laps, there's nothing happened, just hearing me swearing, spinning. Yep, that's a vibration of the tires. And it's just absolutely frustrating, because all we hope is for a fucking dry race, and all we get is a fucking wet race with drying conditions. And our car is so difficult to drive with under those ones. And as I said, I don't want to blame the car on everything. Of course I fucked it up as well, but I'm absolutely demotivated, and I just want to finish the season and never look back. I just want to be straight on honest with you. I don't want to look back and just forget about it, forget that the season existed, because I just want to finish off the season to prove myself that I'm able to pull off a full season in a bad car, just pull off a bad year actually, and just focus on the next year. So staying with Cesario, I don't know, maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not, but I'm gonna be alongside a 2-time world champion next year, so this is my main hope to rely on. But for this year it's completely off, and there's no point in practicing. I think the last 3 races, including this one, proved it, that all the practice, all the hard work you put into is for the birds, because it starts raining and the rain fucks it off. But anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, because I certainly didn't. And in 2 weeks time we're gonna be in Malaysia, woohoo, mid-October in Malaysia. I bet all my money on that it's gonna be a rainy race as well. But until then, no point in practicing and doing anything but just putting it behind me. So stay healthy, that's the most important thing, because I am too. And see you then in Malaysia. Goodbye.